Boston, Massachusetts is home to a very historic transit system. The first subway in America, the Tremont Street Subway, was built in Boston. While much of this old infrastructure is still used today, there are many places where trains once ran but no longer do. Today, we will be exploring what remains of Boston's old streetcar and subway routes, including abandoned tracks, tunnels, and stations. Before we get started, I want to make a quick clarification. I will be covering all abandoned subway and streetcar infrastructure, but not commuter rail. There are countless examples of former, no longer used infrastructure, but I will only be discussing those that still remain in some form today and can be seen without trespassing. I think it's fitting that we start off with the remains of the first subway in America, the Tremont Street Subway. The Tremont Street Subway was constructed in 1897 to divert streetcars underground due to the immense congestion they were causing on street level. Today, the MBTA Green Line still uses a section of the original tunnel from Park Street to Boylston. Today, Green Line trains turn west after Boylston and head towards Copley. However, back when this line was originally constructed, some streetcars would also continue straight south down Tremont Street. The tunnel still exists, and from the inbound platform at Boylston, you can get an excellent view down one of these tunnels. These tunnels eventually led to the Pleasant Street Incline, at the location of which there is today a small park. Let's shift our attention back to Boylston Station. While today the station is double track, it used to be quad tracked, with the outer tracks once leading to the Pleasant Street Incline, but are now abandoned. On the outbound platform, you can see one of the abandoned tracks. On the inbound platform, not only can you see the other abandoned track, but two vintage streetcars have been preserved and sit on display here. Now it's time to take an outbound train from Boylston. As you look out to the left, you may notice a space forms between the two tracks, and then there is this structure. This is what is left of the old public garden portal, which used to take streetcars to street level at the public garden. Continuing along the Green Line, we arrive at Kenmore Square. Here, in the median of Commonwealth Avenue, you can see this strange arch among the grass. This is the remnant of the original streetcar portal at Kenmore, used before an underground Kenmore station was constructed and portals to street level constructed elsewhere. Continuing west on the Green Line B branch, we come to Amory Street. In 2021, the MBTA undertook a project to consolidate 4 stops along this section into 2. Among those 4 stops were Boston University West and Pleasant Street, which were consolidated into Amory Street. Today, you can still see a small part of the old BU West platform at this pedestrian crossing. Here at Packard's Corner is where the former A branch to Watertown used to branch off. Today, there are no remnants of the A branch except at Watertown Yard, where numerous embedded tracks still remain, as well as this maintenance facility which now is used for buses. The B branch has seen many stops closed in order to speed up travel times. Here at Fordham Road, one of those now abandoned stops, you can see these concrete crash barriers which used to be part of the station. At the end of the B branch, just before Boston College, lies this platform at Lake Street. This platform is used in the event of disruptions preventing trains from entering Boston College, which will happen more often as the MBTA modifies the Lake Street car house in preparation for the Type 10 vehicles. Now, moving on to the D branch. First of all, just past Woodland, you can see this station building which used to be a station. It is now used as storage for the Woodland Golf Club. Next, we arrive at Riverside, which has 2 abandoned platforms. One continues just past the existing platforms and can be seen easily. The other is located to the south of the current station, by the parking lot. Here was the original platform, along with the original station building. Let's head back east on the Green Line. At Government Center lies the Brattle Loop, which is still usable but not used in regular service. From the station you can see an old platform, which is now used for storage. One more piece of abandoned infrastructure on the Green Line can be found on the Green Line extension, at the junction where the D branch to Union Square and the E branch to Medford Tufts split. On the outbound track of the E branch and inbound track of the D branch, these little stumps of viaduct can be found. They were originally supposed to connect to the Inner Belt Carhouse maintenance facility, but were never built in order to cut costs. Next, we will move on to the Orange Line starting from the north. From Wellington to Community College, the line is triple-tracked. This was built as an attempt at express subway service when the line was planned to be built to Reading. The extension to Reading never happened, and as a result the express service was never implemented. However, the third track remains today and is very rarely used, always by out-of-service trains. At Community College, the platform adjacent to this third track is abandoned. Moving further down the Orange Line into the Washington Street Tunnel, we arrive at Chinatown. Before it was rerouted to run via the Southwest Corridor next to Amtrak's Northeast Corridor, the Orange Line ran elevated over Washington Street. Chinatown is where the current route splits from the old Washington Street route. From the southernmost end of the southbound platform, you can see the old tunnels leading towards the Washington Street Elevated. Continuing down the Washington Street Elevated, we arrive where the line would have crossed over I-90 in the Northeast Corridor. Here, the supports for Washington Street extend further than the street they carry. These supports used to carry the Washington Street Elevated. Now, we turn our attention to the Blue Line, many parts of which used to be used by streetcars. At Bowdoin, trains turn around using a loop, a holdover from the streetcar era. However, tracks branching off from this loop used to lead to the Red Line via Cambridge Street. The tracks immediately after the loop are used as a layover yard. These tunnels can best be seen from the end of the outbound platform. Towards the other end of the line at Suffolk Downs, these streetcar tracks remain next to the Blue Line station. They used to be part of the Suffolk Downs and Gladstone streetcar loops. Now moving on to the Red Line, the busiest subway line in Boston. Harvard Station was relocated as part of the ALF extension. If you take an inbound train and look out to the left, you can see one of the platforms of the old station. At Broadway, you can see an old portal for streetcars. The portal and its tunnels are not abandoned, but are used for training first responders. Finally, the Mattapan Trolley. Much of the right-of-way used to be a quad-track mainline railway. This is evident at the Neponset River crossing. The two center tracks are still in use, but the bridge for one of the outside tracks is used for a rail trail, and the other lies abandoned. And just past Milton, this bridge and these embedded rails are remnants of an old industrial spur. With that, we conclude this video. I hope you enjoyed this tour of all of Boston's abandoned streetcar and subway infrastructure you can see today. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.